Float Face Down was a big part of the Myspace deathcore era, and today I'm here to tell you everything there is to know about their story as a band. That's right, I actually sat down with Rich, their guitar player and co-founder of the band, and he was kind enough to sit down with me for 3 hours just to tell me their story. I really appreciate it. So, my friend, as usual, take a cup of coffee, a cigarette, Dunkaroos, whatever you feel like as we explore the story of Float Face Down. Real quick, before starting the video, I want to say thank you to Kyle Medina, who was kind enough to put me in contact with Rich and making this whole thing happen. Also, if you didn't join our Discord, the link is in the description. We also have our live deathcore podcast on Twitch every Wednesday and even sometimes on Saturdays. So if you want to ask your questions live to your favorite artists, that's the perfect place to do it. And with all that being said, let's start the video. So the band was founded in 2006 in New Jersey, and at the time, Ron and Rich were both in separate local bands until they decided to start a project together. Believe it or not, the first jam didn't go very well. You see, they didn't have a drummer, and their bassist apparently didn't have his own bass, so you probably get the idea. After that, obviously, Rich wasn't sure he wanted to move forward with this whole project, but fortunately, on his side, Ron had found a new drummer, Mike Pallaro. Super talented, and he joined the band called Fury of Five a few years ago. They also had a new bassist, AJ, and also Ryan on guitar. And so the second time around, it was much better. They already started writing, and by 2007, they released their first 2 songs. I really think it sounded great, especially for a demo. Both songs absolutely rips, and believe it or not, they instantly picked up some traction in the scene. Of course, Rich told me that they had a lot of connections, you know, being in local bands prior to the project, but still, it was working very well for an upcoming band, and so they started doing some amazing live shows with the local bands. One of their very first shows was with Emure, who at the time was kind of another upcoming band, if you will. And not only that, but they were part of the Infest 2007. Look at that thing. I mean, just imagine playing with Suicide Silence during those years. It was prime time, my friends. I mean, just that in itself is freaking amazing. But then, imagine even playing with As Blood Runs Black, Cattle Decapitation, Beneath the Massacre, and like 10 other super sick bands. It was so wild for the band. Also, during that period of time, they started playing a new song live. It was called Before You Go. And then they broke up. And the weird thing is, it wasn't the only time. You're gonna see in the video. They broke up many times. And so they did a lot of last shows, which is quite iconic for the era, in my opinion. So the first last show, if that makes sense, was at Lazy Moose Lodge. And the thing is, as they were playing their very last show, they were already thinking about reforming with a new guitar player. His name was Santino Costa. I don't know. I'm mentioning it because I thought it was funny due to the situation. So, during the summer of 2008, with their brand new mindset, they went in the studio together with none other than Will Putney at the Machine Shop studio. And I'm realizing now, Will is featured in like more than half of my videos. The dude is an absolute legend of a guy. Which, my friends, brings us to the release of their very first demo called One by One They All Relinquish. Dude, it sounded so sick, even today. I mean, there's something about the rawness. I keep talking about that in almost all my videos, but the rawness of a recording kind of brings out the anger and the personality as a band, as opposed to some more, I would say, polished or refined albums, kind of, at the end of the day, sounding similar. This sound, oh my god, like, it's my favorite thing. There's a reason why all these records are my favorite, you know? I cannot shut up about it.
Shut up about the sun! Shut up about the sun!
So, they did what any upcoming band needed to do at the time, and they uploaded both songs on Myspace, obviously. It was extremely well received, and it's almost an understatement because it went viral, like, without crutches, and it became kind of a cult favorite very early on. And guys, the shows, the freaking live shows. Then, during the fall, they went back in the studio, but this time it was to record a full EP. So, in November 2008, Float Face Down officially released Bury Your Beliefs. Okay, where to even start? I mean, this EP it's perfection, basically, is what it is. I would even call it something like technical beatdown. Is that even a thing? What I mean is, usually in beatdown, you kind of focus on structure and rhythm and whatnot, kind of slow tempo type thing, and of course, Float Face Down is doing that, but on top of it, you hear all those crazy tech death parts through it. It made them stand out so much, and not only that, but the vocals, the freaking vocals. Ron was such a beast. He did a fantastic job through the whole thing. It's to me, it's still a masterpiece, and I know for a fact that it's still looked at as a classic to this day. Obviously, it was extremely well received. There's almost no need to say it, but what I want to mention is, during that era, their live shows, I mean, Float Face Down was on another level. They were killing it. They were even playing with bands like Waking the Cadaver, Fit for an Autopsy, Whitechapel. Everything was going so well, and then they broke up again. Yeah, believe it or not. So yeah, as you probably guessed at this point, they did another final show, which went super great, ironically. And the thing is also, you need to understand that being in a band, as much as it seemed like it's just like fun and partying and whatnot, there's much more to it. You know, you don't make money, especially as a deathcore band. It's like, I mean, come on. And you know, you're always with the same people, you're trying to tour, do your own thing, and it's so much work. Like, I don't want to make it sound negative, it's awesome, but it's just, that's part of the reason why you heard so many bands breaking up and whatnot. Like, it's harder than what people think. That being said, it didn't stop them from making music, because RON started a new band called Design the End, and it was interesting because there was clean singing in it, and even like auto-tuned clean singing. While Rich, on his side, was in Abassinate. Super sick band. Unfortunately, not too long after Rich joining in Abassinate, the thing is, they had to kick out their vocalist, so it went slower for a bit. It was good timing though, because exactly at that moment, RON wrote to Rich and he said, both of our bands are kind of cool and okay, but Float Face Down was way better. Let's bring it back, but this time, let's start fresh with a brand new lineup, which is exactly what they did. So we had RON on vocals, obviously, Matt on guitar, Rich on guitar, Loki on bass, and Jimmy as their drummer. And together, they were the new Float Face Down. So with the new lineup, by the end of 2009, they had released 2 brand new songs. They were called Etched in Stone and Hematid Roses. Okay, it was renamed Relinquish at Death on the EP, so I'm just gonna call it that if it's okay. Once again, they posted the songs on their MySpace profile, which, as you can tell, looked absolutely amazing thanks to RON, who was a beast at coding apparently. Back then, you kind of had to figure it out with HTML stuff and whatnot, or you could do like I did and just copy paste some codes and then make it your own type thing. Their very first show coming back was at the Stone Pony, popular venue at the time, and they were hosting a contest called the Break Contest, and the winners would get a spot at the Bamboozle. It was a big deal. It was a 3-part contest, by the way. Between the first show and the second show, they had to hire a new drummer. It was Victor Pascal. I don't know how to say that. Pascal. Like, it's a French name here, so I really have no clue. I'm sorry, Victor, for that. But yeah, Victor was in a band called Skull Grip. He was killing it. So the dudes, even if they had to change drummers, they were actually stoked about, you know, Victor joining in. And the 2 other shows went great. So guess what? Float Face Down won. They had their spot at the Bamboozle. It was freaking amazing, right? This show went great, people showed up, it was an amazing time, and a big milestone also, you know, like Float Face Down being at the Bamboozle, and I mean, like, big bands were part of that. Immure was even on the bill, and fun fact, apparently Frankie noticed Float Face Down, like he wanted to help the band, he started working with them. I believe he had some sort of management company during that era. Unfortunately, nothing big came out of that, but still, I think it was worth mentioning that Frankie saw potential in the band. During that era, Float Face Down started to play outside of New Jersey, you know, branching out a little bit. And I'm mentioning that because that's when they released their iconic new merch featuring Snooki of Jersey Shore getting punched in the face. Then, unfortunately, both Victor and Loki had to quit the band to focus on other things in their life. And so they hired a new drummer, his name was George, and also Kyle on bass, who, as we all know, is part of Buddy Snatcher. Not Kyle Medina, just to make that very clear. I mean, I even, like, there's an arrow, so I should be clear, but I'm just saying it in case. So with the new lineup, he released a brand new song called In the Lion's Den, which got them noticed even more. And so by the end of 2010, they officially got signed by Mediascared Records. Well, it was called Rite of Passage. It was affiliated with Mediascared. Let's just say they were signed by Mediascared. I think it's easier this way. So with their brand new label, they went to the barbershop studio, and yes, they released a studio update.
I'm Kyle Shope and I have tiger blood.
This is Kevin Kumetz mixing the album. He's the man from work. This is I don't know who this guy is. Who is he?
I'm Ron Burgundy. Oh, Bender, we Kevin. We are Float Face. No, that's not right at all. We are the Mississippi Mud. We are Float You. What's her name? Lanolin?
What are we doing?
Before the album release, they went on their first very big tour. Amazing lineup featuring King Conquer, which is still one of the best deathcore bands ever, in my opinion. Obviously, as usual, Float Face Down was killing it live, they were on fire. Unfortunately, not too long after that, Matt Douglas had to quit the band. They decided to move forward as a four-piece, something that Rich enjoyed quite a bit. He told me it was a new challenge, they made it work, and even if later on they ended up hiring a new guitar player, Matt Needy, Rich still told me that he enjoyed that era of the band. So for 2011, they kept touring, doing their thing, promoting the new material, and in April 2012, Float Face Down officially released Exitium Verum. Wow, man, what an album, for real. Like, it definitely still holds up to this day. It could be released right now and it would do well. I'm 100% sure of that. It was more refined, more polished, and yet somehow they kept most of the rawness of the original material. It's quite impressive to me. so good, even more technical, even, you know, in some parts, even slower and heavier. It was the perfect mix of everything, just kind of a super saiyan version of what they did early on. It's awesome. I also wanted to point out, there's this song called Solemnity. It's an instrumental song and it's so good. Like, usually I'm not, you know, that much into instrumentals for some reason, but this one, it just resonates. Like, I fully recommend listening to it. It's a masterpiece, really. I don't think you're going to be surprised to hear that the album was extremely well received. Once again, people were all about it, and even if the time period between the recording and the release was quite long, for multiple reasons that I won't get into, it was cool to see that the expectations were met, even I would say exceeded. It's a rare thing when these things happen, so I wanted to mention that. Then, after that, they went on a tour with our friends in King Conquer again, and The World We Knew. Pretty sick tour, if you ask me. So after coming back from the tour, the rest of 2012 was a slow-moving era type thing. Like, they didn't do much. It was more of trying to figure out what the next step would be, if you will. For 2013, kind of the same thing until their drummer had to quit, unfortunately, to focus on other thing. They still managed to do a tour with the drummer of Existence, and Rich told me it went great, which ultimately brings us to 2014, when Float Face Down broke up, for real this time. But once again, it didn't stop them from making music. Rich and George started a new project called Enigma Machine. It was kind of kill switch engage type thing. It was awesome. Ron, on his side, started a rap project. It was called Triple Threat. And, you know, they kind of did their own thing for a while separately. And in 2016, they came back for one show for fun, you know, but it was amazing. Which unfortunately brings us to 2017, when Ron tragically passed away. It was quite a big tragedy in the scene. It really, like, everyone was talking about it. It was quite a shock, very sudden too. And, you know, he was very beloved, even to this day considered a legend, and he's someone that I looked up to, very influential in what I love vocally, musically, and all that. So, yeah, rest in peace, man. You're an absolute legend. Forever. I think it's also very important to mention the memorial show they did for Ron. It was with Kyle Medina on vocals, and Kyle really did a great job. Rich told me that the show was outstanding, and another very important thing to mention is the fact that Rich is still making music. He's doing amazing instrumental songs. Like, I've listened to some of it. It's really good material, which isn't surprising with everything he did, you know, in Float Face Down, but still, I think you should give it a listen. Earlier, I said that I wasn't that much into instrumental. I think they're badass, so And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much, Kyle and Rich, for making this whole thing possible. I'm extremely grateful. It was a very important video for me. And of course, I want to thank you for watching, for supporting. It means the world to me, really. Once again, if you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. It helps a lot. It's a great way to support me. Of course, you're always welcome to join our community. Our Discord link is in the description. You can also hang out with us live on Twitch every week with all your favorite bands. But for now, I'm gonna stop talking. I'll see you in the next one.